Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile, and this is the Fiio K11, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. So the Fiio K11, this will set you back $130 from your bank account. It is a DAC amp all-in-one, and it has the Sirius Logic 43198 DAC chip. It supports audio formats up to 32-bit 384 and DSD 256. Has a frequency response range of 20 Hz to 50 kilohertz, and it has decent output power on single-ended. On high gain at 32 ohm it'll do 520 milliwatts. At 300 ohm it'll do 60 milliwatts. On balanced high gain 32 ohm it'll do 1400 milliwatts, and at 300 ohms it'll do 250 milliwatts. The Fiio K11 is rather nicely built. So aluminum body, and you get this little RGB light up here, and it weighs 407 grams. Very small. On the bottom here you have this rubber plate that has the feet, and it's a little sticky, and it's not going to move anywhere on your desk. It's extremely small. You can get this in black or silver, and I like the silver look. Kind of, if you are an Apple person, I am not, but if you are, it will kind of remind you of a Mac Mini or a CD drive for a PC, something like that. It's not very big and not very heavy. It's very well laid out. You have this nice LCD screen. You got your headphone outputs of 1/4 inch and 4.4 right there. Multifunction volume knob. And then you also have here on the back side RCA out, coax in and out, fiber optic in, USB-C in, and then your power cable. Whoops. My bad. The K11 comes in this box, a little bit of branding, and oh, we have a high-res sticker. It's got to sound good. I'm not going to show you what's on the inside. The only things that you get are the power cable and USB cable, and of course the device. Alright, so when you plug it in, it's going to start cycling through, and it's going to say Fiio and K11, and then the RGB light is going to start changing colors here on the top, and you get the menu screen. I'm not going to go through the whole settings of the Fiio K11, but I do find that it's rather easy to use. Now, to change from line out, which is variable, to headphone out, you just double tap the volume knob and you're going to switch very quickly. If you want to get to the menu screen, you hold down and it's going to pull things up. This is where you can change your gain settings from low, medium, high. You can also change all the different RGBs. You can select an individual color. You can make it pulse. You can make it cycle through each individual color. There's all kinds of different options of raising how bright it is to how low it is. You can also change the display settings, and there's audio filters that you can select, and all kinds of other options. It's very nicely loaded. You can update the firmware and all kinds of things. So that's a very nice option. Just to get out of it, you just hold it and it's going to take you back to the screen. To power it off, I don't recommend doing it, but you could do it like I did in the video, which is just pull the power cord out. Or you can hold down the volume knob and it will eventually say off, and then you just click it and boom, you're off. To turn it back on, you just hold down the power button and it'll start cycling through. The RGB light will come on and start cycling, and it's kind of cool how it does all that. Alright, so the K11, how did it perform? So it was rather impressive that the line out and the headphone out sounded the same. I did not hear any differences between them. They both sounded identical. And for a $130 device, I was rather impressed that it was able to do that. Sometimes headphone outs will sound different than line out. The line out is variable, so you can use it with powered speakers, you can use it with an external amplifier, and other devices that you want to use it with. I found that it works very well with the Drop SMSL HO150X and other amplifiers. I really did enjoy it with that. So if you want a little bit extra power, I would recommend using an external amplifier and just using the K11 as a DAC. The headphone out works very well with IEMs. All of the IEMs that I tested it with, which were a ton of them, I went through pretty much all of them that I have on hand here, and none of them hissed. I didn't have any issues with audible hissing, popping, or anything like that, and it was able to drive them all with ease. Even the more hard demanding planar IEMs worked very well with the K11. So if you use IEMs quite regularly, or just only use IEMs, but you're looking for kind of a desktop solution and something small, the K11 will power IEMs very, very well. And you have both the option to use it either single-ended or with the 4.4 balance. The K11 is a very unique device in its presentation of sound. I found that the K11 has a neutral, natural, analytical leaning presentation. The bass of the K11 is very quality, not quantity. The bass has a good extension into the sub bass. You're going to get a little rumble and grumble when the track calls upon it, but it's not really going to be super authoritative and domineering of the presentation. Mid bass and upper bass have a little bit of punch and slam, and enough to go, hey, you know, there's some bass in this track, but it's not always going to be present. It's also very quick and very what's the word I'm looking for? It's very quick, and it decays and attacks well, and overall the resolution of the bass is very, very good, and it pulls nice details as well. Tone and timbre is very natural. Instruments and vocalists sound very accurate and true. And then the mids have a nice slight touch of warmth to them, and it adds some note weight and a little bit of body to things. And again, just like the bass, it's more about the quality than the quantity. The mids have this presence about them where everything sounds very even and very accurate, and it will portray the track accordingly. If the track is recorded where someone is very forward in the mix, it's going to show that. If things are a little bit more on an even keel, it's going to show that as well. Instruments and vocalists, again, sound very natural and very accurate, and the details and resolution are very good. I found that it has a nice crisp edge to things and a nice little bite, but yet it's not aggressive and it's not too forthright in its presentation, and it does a good job of just making everything sound proper and very natural. And then the treble, it has nice extension, and you get nice air, and you get a nice amount of bite and edge and crispness without being fatiguing and too forthright. It, just like the bass and the mids, has very nice tone and timbre, and everything sounds proper and sounds natural. And overall, I find that the bass, the mids, and the treble do a good job of just keeping everything sounding as it should, and not trying to color it up and add its own kind of taste to things. It's just presenting it as the track is, and it in a very analytical type of way with just a very natural presentation. Soundstage of the K11 is also very nice and very natural. It doesn't try to force everything wide, and it's not a very intimate sound. Now, it'll do intimate, medium, large, extra large, grand. It'll do all of that if it's called upon, but it does it the way that you would think that the stage is set based on the track. And it does a good job of revealing differences in venues. Also, it's very nicely layered. I was rather impressed with the way that you can look into the stage, and it has good depth, but also in the layering, things play with each other and beside each other and in front and behind, and they don't cloud each other out and force each other and try to fight for position. They do a good job of being separated and isolated, and you can pick apart things individually. Tracking and imaging is very good, and you can follow things across the stage and place them very well. I wouldn't say it's laser perfect, but it does a good job of letting you know it's right in this neighborhood, it's right here. The detail retrieval and resolution is very good on the K11 for $130. I was rather impressed at all the information that it provided and how well that it resolved it. It was very defined, very refined and focused, and things sounded the way they should, and you could place them very well. And then tone and timbre is very nice. There's a nice natural touch to things without being colored, without being too overly big and large, and it sounds natural. It doesn't sound like something is tampering with it and trying to make it sound too good. It's just, as the track says, it sounds proper. So the K11, I really do like it. I'm rather impressed by the presentation that it offers, all the abilities that it has with the line out and with its headphone out capabilities to run IEMs. And most headphones, now the more demanding headphones, it's not going to power, and that's the reason why you would want to use an external amplifier if you have some more demanding headphones. Hi-Fi-Man Arias and Hi-Fi-Man Sundaras, and Barodynamic DT80 600 ohms, or even Sennheisers that are in 300 ohms or higher, things like that. You're probably going to want a more powerful amplifier and use the K11 as a DAC only. But for IEMs and headphones, it does a good job. And so I'm rather impressed with a very simple little device. Oh, by the way, fiber optic, I did connect it and used it for gaming. It does a very good job with gaming. Also, I did not use the coaxial in or out, but I did use fiber optic and USB. How does it compare to the JDS Labs Atom Plus? Now, the JDS Atom Plus has been on my desk for about a year, and it's been kind of my recommendation in the budget $200-ish range. But the Atom Plus is a DAC separate and an amp separate, and it's not an all-in-one like the K11. And I find that the K11 actually outperforms it just a little bit. The K11 has a little slightly more natural tone and timbre. It has a little bit better depth and layering in the stage, and it's also slightly better with details and resolution. The JDS Labs Atom Plus is a very good DAC separate, but I find that the K11 just kind of pushes it out a little bit further. Plus, if you're going to buy the stack, you're almost doubling up the price when you purchase the JDS versus the K11. So, the Fiio K11. Yeah, I like this. And I'm rather impressed by it. And get RGB lights and all kinds of cool looks, and it's small, slim, doesn't take up much space, and it does everything that you need for an IEM listener or a casual headphone user. So I highly recommend it. If you're looking for a budget all-in-one DAC amp that has a neutral, natural, analytical presentation, check out the Fiio K11. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. And don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. Check out all the links down below. There's all kinds of information on there regarding how you can contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, I want to thank all my supporters through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Thank you very much for all that you provide to the channel. It's much appreciated. If you're interested in supporting the channel, there's various ways that you can do it through one-time gifts with PayPal and Venmo, or monthly subscriptions through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Also, with monthly subscriptions, you can get access to the videos early, and you can also get access to my private Discord server. Please check out the links down below. There's all kinds of other information down there, like music recommendations and gear rankings and all kinds of other things. So check out the links down below. And lastly, don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.